Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dwapare Bhagavan Shayamaha Pita Vasa Nija Yudaha Srivatsad Bihir Ankaischa Lakshanir Upalakshitaha. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In Dwapara Yuga, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears with a dark blue complexion, wearing yellow garments. The Lord's transcendental body is marked in this incarnation with Srivatsa and other distinctive ornaments, and he manifests his personal weapons. Purport. The Lord's transcendental body in Dwapara Yuga can be compared to the color of a dark blue flower. The Lord exhibits his personal transcendental weapons, such as Sudarshan chakra and all of the limbs of his body, especially his hands and feet, are decorated with auspicious symbols, such as a lotus flower and a flag. And on his chest, the Lord manifests the Kaustubha jewel as well as the auspicious Srivatsa, a whorl of hair curling from left to right on the right side of the Lord's chest. Actually, such auspicious marks as Kaustubha and Srivatsa, as well as the weapons of the Lord, are present in all of the Vishnu Tattva incarnations. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that these universal characteristics of the Lord mentioned by the sage Karabhajana are indications of the Krishna avatar. Because Krishna is the source of all incarnations, all of the symptoms of all other incarnations are to be found in his transcendental body. Om Agyanatimirandhyasya Gyanjana Shalakaya Chakshu Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pasachaya Deshatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktavrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanam vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to speak on this wonderful verse of Shrimad Bhagavatam. Before I dive into the points I want to highlight, I would like to ask for all of your blessings so that I may speak on behalf of the wisdom coming from Srila Prabhupada and his disciples in a way that sparks insight and nourishment for your spiritual journey. What a wonderful verse to dive into for the next half hour, right? Leaning into Rukmini Walker, encouraging us to create hooks of remembrance of Krishna, I will be offering many hooks arising from this single verse. As I describe these various hooks, I will be adding in key points that help us remember Krishna no matter what life throws our way. We will explore the various and interesting ways Krishna's mercy appears. Are you ready to adventure into this most wonderful form of our beloved friend? Let's start with the bluish-black color of his skin. As the purport speaks of, he appears as the color of a dark blue flower. So the next time you're out in nature, maybe looking for a dark blue flower can remind you of Krishna's color. With regards to Krishna's bodily color, he is also known as Shama Sundar, the color of a dark blue rain cloud. What a sweet image as the rain clouds come rolling in, helping us to remember that Krishna is present within the storms of life, offering nourishing rains to cleanse the dust accumulated on our hearts. It's so easy to forget Krishna within the storms of life, isn't it? And yet Krishna appears as that dark rain cloud to call us back into remembrance of him when our circumstances pull us into darkness. What to speak of the golden hue of his garments that shine in brilliant contrast to his blackish skin? I can't help but think of those garments being like the rising sun or the golden moonlight on a cloudless night. Again, I am drawn to relishing Krishna's garments being the light in the darkness, shining ever so brightly. All throughout the 10th canto, Krishna is offered so many opulent garments from the devotees, and they all enhance his splendor and beauty. How much more opulent are those garments when adorned with wonderful flower garlands, tinkling ankle bells, and golden necklaces offered by the various devotees? Do you know the name for Krishna's primary flower garland? It's called the Vijayanti garland, and it is made of 5 different colored flowers. Can you imagine yellow garments along with a 5-colored flower garland to capture the eyes with the vibrance of a garden in full bloom? What an image to hold in our hearts for a moment, right? Moving on to the Srivatsa marking that identifies Lord Vishnu, I want to share a story coming out of the 89th chapter of Krishna book. Once upon a time, there was a question as to who of the 3 predominating deities of this material world was the greatest. These 3 deities are Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Lord Brahma's son was a great sage known as Bhrigu Muni, and he took on the task of determining who was the most tolerant and therefore the greatest. In order to test his own father, Bhrigu failed to offer him humble obeisances or proper respects. Upon seeing his son's impetus, Lord Brahma became very angry and fell into rage for a brief time. He nearly cursed his own son, but he pulled back into intelligence, which subdued his inherent mode of passion that ran through Brahma's nature. This is a wonderful reminder that we all have the capacity to breathe and pull back into intelligence when we are feeling triggered into anger. But it does take practice. And even Lord Brahma had to take a moment for his intelligence to regain control of his reactions. Escaping his father's wrath, Bhrigu immediately turned his attention to Lord Shiva, who happened to be his brother. Upon seeing Lord Shiva covered in ash, Bhrigu Muni refused to embrace Shiva and called him dirty and impure. Shiva became very insulted by Bhrigu, considering him to be impure, and immediately fell into the depths of rage as he picked up his trident and was prepared to kill Bhrigu on the spot. And yet Shiva's wife, Parvati, fell at the feet of her husband, spoke sweet words, and reminded Shiva of the mode of goodness that could tame the rage triggered by this insult. Upon hearing his wife's words, Shiva was subdued and let Bhrigu go without punishment. Wow, what a lesson in coming alongside someone and speaking truth in kindness while pointing them back towards goodness. Finally, Bhrigu entered into Vishnu's world, where he witnessed Lord Vishnu resting on a bed of flowers with his wife, Lakshmi, who was engaged in massaging Vishnu's lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada does speak about Bhrigu saving the most corporal offense for Lord Vishnu, as his inconsiderate mind and rude words ended up turning into physically attacking Lord Vishnu by kicking him square in the chest. How did Lord Vishnu respond to this egregious attack? Well, he knew Bhrigu Muni was a Brahmana. Therefore, he not only offered his respects, but also considered it his great fortune that Bhrigu had paid him a visit. Wait, what? Vishnu was kicked in the chest and is responding with joy at seeing the Brahmana? How amazing is Vishnu's merciful nature! Vishnu then offers Bhrigu a seat and says, "Oh, great sage, I know that your feet are very soft like a lotus flower, and that my chest is as hard as a thunderbolt. I am therefore afraid that you may have felt some pain by kicking my chest. Let me touch your feet to relieve the pain you have suffered." Lord Vishnu then began to massage the feet of Bhrigu Muni. Vishnu continues to state, "My chest has now become sanctified because of the touch of your feet. I am now assured that the goddess of fortune Lakshmi will be very glad to live there perpetually." The whirl of hair emanated from this incident and is a key sign of the merciful Lord Vishnu incarnating in the various yugas. This is the Srivatsa marking that adorns dear Krishna's chest, reminding his devotees of his ultimate mercy. Speaking of mercy, it's time to turn our attention towards the weapons that adorn this bluish-black form of Krishna. His four-handed form is adorned with the disc, club, conch, and lotus. Let's first take a look at the Sudarshan chakra, or the disc weapon. Why am I starting here, and how does this weapon relate to Krishna's mercy? Well, it has been within my own experience that Krishna will use whatever weapon is necessary to get our attention, and sometimes point out the disc or club is the only thing that wakes us up from our blindness. Have you ever thought of the name of this disc being the Sudarshan chakra? Our dear Rukmini Walker has pointed out the interesting correlation to this disc also being a part of Krishna's ultimate darshan, because when he deploys this Sudarshan chakra, he brings to light everything that blinds one from seeing Krishna's power. One amazing story revolves around Krishna tolerating 100 insults from the demon Shishupal. Alas, on the 101st insult, Krishna deploys his Sudarshan chakra and liberates Shishupal from his insulting ways. Sudarshan also means sidelong glance. So can you imagine this most amazing disc offering a sidelong glance to us as we strive to root out all that blinds us to seeing our beloved Krishna? This is a wonderful reminder that sometimes Krishna's greatest mercy comes in the form of cutting down our egos. Now, when hand-to-hand combat is needed, Krishna will rely on his club, as he did with the demon Dantavaraka. After being struck on the head by this angry Dantavaraka, Krishna simply stood there unaffected. Krishna then took his Kaumadaki club and struck Dantavaraka in the chest, splitting his body in two, and again liberating him from his envious ways. These stories of Krishna using the weapons to kill the demons can be a bit wild. And at the same time, what mercy does Krishna offer by liberating each and every one of them? Therefore, just as the 8th verse of the Shikshastakam states, "I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally." Sometimes that rough embrace comes through feeling the consequences of our wayward actions or experiencing setbacks, challenges, and trials. And yet, if we can remember that this is also Krishna's sweet sidelong glance, then we can offer our own anarthas to Krishna's precious lotus feet, trusting in his ever merciful nature and offering gratitude for the lessons Krishna offers so we can draw closer to him. Of course, where would we be if we didn't remember the auspicious blowing of Krishna's Panchanjaya conch at the beginning of the Kurukshetra war? Now, this Panchanjaya conch resounds with the most wonderful and auspicious Om that contains the entire spiritual world within Krishna's blowing of the conch. This conch is such that it breaks the hearts of the demons, and inspires and melts the hearts of the devotees. How amazing that the conch serves as a wake-up call to those who are blinded by passion and ignorance, while at the same time being a source of relief and hope for those who are turned towards Krishna and desire to lovingly serve him. This reminds me of the importance of broadening our vision and holding space for Krishna to be the most wonderful carrier of paradoxes and contradictions as he chooses to meet each person in their own unique way. Just as Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita encourages Arjuna to act according to his own nature, even though it may be imperfect, recognizing the ways we all see things from a varied lens can help us become curious and seek greater unity and diversity through celebrating one another's unique strengths and talents. This is the most wonderful way mercy can show up in our own humanity, while also reminding us to offer mercy to others in their humanity. Let's now direct our attention to the lotus that points to Krishna's sweetness and beauty. The lotus enters into Krishna's form in so many ways. First, Krishna is called lotus-eyed, a sign of beauty, dignity, purity, and rising above all the wild circumstances of life to find peace and hope. How amazing is this description when we think of Krishna's sweet and mischievous sidelong glance. We might find ourselves in the mud of our conditioning, but the instant we remember Krishna and call out to him, he's there offering his wonderful sidelong glance and encouraging us to rise above that mud like a lotus flower. The lotus held in Krishna's hand represents spiritual power, or the beauty that arises when we seek to engage our true nature in service to him. Just as the lotus tends to shimmer in the sunlight, Srila Prabhupada shimmered with the effulgence of spiritual power rooted in dovetailing all of his efforts in Krishna's service. And we finally come to the precious lotus feet, which is the resting place for all of our troubles, doubts, and concerns in this life. Krishna's lotus feet offer immense spiritual shelter, reminding us that he is always available to support our eternal growth beyond the messy, temporary nature of this world. Srila Prabhupada speaks of the power of serving the lotus feet of Krishna in the purport to Shrimad Bhagavatam 11.5.27. He says, such a pure devotee who has implicit faith in the lotus feet of the Lord can create sacred places in any part of the world where he decides to remain. Tirti, Kirvanti, Tirtani. The places are sanctified due to the presence of pure devotees. Any place automatically becomes a place of pilgrimage if either the Lord or his pure devotee remains or resides there. In other words, such a pure devotee who is engaged 100% in the service of the Lord can remain anywhere in the universe, and that part of the universe immediately becomes a sacred place where he can peacefully render service to the Lord as the Lord desires. Srila Prabhupada certainly embodied the mood of Tirti, Kirvanti, Tirtani, as is described in Bhagavatam 1.13.10. My Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified, because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart. You turn all the places into places of pilgrimage. How else could Srila Prabhupada have spread a worldwide mission in such a short period of time while in his 70s and 80s? Continuing on the theme of Krishna's lotus feet, we all know that Radha and Krishna are marked with various symbols on their precious lotus feet. Therefore, when the two disappeared from the rasa dance, the gopis were able to follow their footsteps and hunt down the object of their affection and desires. What are those markings? The soles of the Lord's lotus feet are marked with chaika, chakra, gada, padma, conch shell, disc, club, and lotus, and also by a flag and a thunderbolt, as described in Bhagavatam 10.2.38. We have discussed the first four, but Srila Prabhupada has added two more. An ISKCON Desire Tree article from June 9th, 2023 states, the flag announces that for the devotees meditating on his feet, he gives security and safe protection from all sorts of fear. The thunderbolt reveals that meditating on his feet smashes to pieces the mountain of his devotees' karmic reactions to past sins. It also indicates that whoever holds onto his feet becomes as exalted as Lord Indra, whose weapon is the lightning bolt. What wonderful mercy is held in those precious lotus feet of our sweet Lord, who offers protection and support, smashing to pieces all that keeps us from loving and serving him to the best of our capacity. Turning our attention towards the jewels around Krishna's neck, the Kaustubha gem is shining brightly with the hue of a lotus flower, attracting all attention and marking Krishna as the original Lord Vishnu. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu describes this most opulent Kaustubha gem in the following ways. This jewel is a flashing ornament worn around Krishna's neck, contributing to the splendor of his divine appearance. It is the king of jewels that shines brightly and discredits the sun. It is a magnificent jewel worn by Krishna that emits rays resembling moonlight, contributing to his divine appearance. Wow, the Kaustubha jewel shines more brightly than the sun. What an amazing way to remember Krishna as we relish the sunshine. I would like to turn our attention to the pearl necklace that surrounds Krishna's neck. In Bhagavatam 3.28.28, Lord Kapila describes this necklace to his mother Devahuti. He says, one should meditate upon the pearl necklace on the Lord's neck, which is considered to represent the pure living entities who are always engaged in his service. Whoa, what an amazing image to behold. Can we imagine seeing Srila Prabhupada and the entire parampara adorned on Krishna's pearl necklace? And do we have enough faith to understand that Krishna's ultimate desire is to adorn our pure spiritual nature as one of those precious pearls shining brightly? In Bhagavad Gita 7.7, Krishna tells Arjuna, everything rests on me as pearls are strung on a thread. Each and every one of us is offered a resting place. The question is, are we willing to claim it? What a wonderful point to meditate upon, right? Now, there is one more hook in Krishna's form I want to draw our attention to. How could we honor this wonderful bluish-black boy without remembering the sweet nectarian melody emanating from his flute? For dressing Krishna, Srila Prabhupada emphasized the importance of Krishna having his flute in a letter to Karandara on October 3rd, 1971. He wrote, please accept my blessings. Enclosed, you will find one photograph of the deities there in LA recently sent to me. Why is Krishna without a flute? What is the difficulty to make for Krishna a flute? You can take a twig and wrap it in golden lace with a pearl drop hanging. That is a flute. How long it takes to make? Nothing should be concocted. Not that a flower in place of a flute. Krishna had to have his flute. It's the flute that attracts all living beings to Krishna. I would like to conclude through offering a deeper dive into not only the power of Krishna's flute, but his sweet and enchanting form as described by the gopis. This pastime comes from Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 35. May I suggest, if you can, please close your eyes and take in this magical sweetness. The gopis are speaking to one another. O girls, this son of Nanda who gives joy to the distressed, bears steady lightning on his chest and has a smile like a jeweled necklace. Now please hear something wonderful. When he vibrates his flute, Braja's bulls, deer, and cows, standing in groups at a great distance, are all captivated by the sound, and they stop chewing the food in their mouths and cock their ears. Stunned, they appear as if asleep or like figures in a painting. My dear Gopi, sometimes Mukunda imitates the appearance of a wrestler by decorating himself with leaves, peacock feathers, and colored minerals. Then, in the company of Balaram and the cowherd boys, he plays his flute to call the cows. At that time, the rivers stop flowing and their water is stunned by the ecstasy they feel as they eagerly wait for the wind to bring them the dust of his lotus feet. But like us, the rivers are not very pious, and thus they merely wait with their arms trembling out of love. Krishna moves about the forest in the company of his friends who vividly chant the glories of his magnificent deeds. He thus appears just like the Supreme Personality of Godhead, exhibiting his inexhaustible opulences. When the cows wander onto the mountainside and Krishna calls out to them with the sound of his flute, the trees and creepers in the forest respond by becoming so luxuriant with fruits and flowers that they seem to be manifesting Lord Vishnu within their hearts. As their branches bend low with the weight, the filaments on their trunks and vines stand erect out of the ecstasy of love of God. And both the trees and the creepers pour down a rain of sweet sap. Maddened by the divine honey-like aroma of the tulasi flowers on the garland Krishna wears, swarms of bees sing loudly for him, and that most beautiful of all persons thankfully acknowledges and acclaims their song by taking his flute to his lips and playing it. The charming flute song then steals away the minds of the cranes, swans, and other lake-dwelling birds. Indeed, they approach Krishna, close their eyes, and maintaining strict silence, worship him by fixing their consciousness upon him in deep meditation. O goddesses of Raj, when Krishna is enjoying himself with Balaram on the mountain slopes, playfully wearing a flower garland on the top of his head, he engladdens all with the resonant vibrations of his flute. Thus he delights the entire world. At that time, the nearby cloud, afraid of offending a great personality, thunders very gently in accompaniment. The cloud showers flowers onto his dear friend Krishna and shades him from the sun like an umbrella. O pious mother Yashoda, your son, who is expert in all the arts of herding cows, has invented many new styles of flute playing. When he takes his flute to his bimba red lips and sends forth the tones of the harmonic scale in variegated melodies, Brahma, Shiva, Indra, and other chief demigods become confused upon hearing the sound. Although they are the most learned authorities, they cannot ascertain the essence of that music, and thus they bow down their hearts and heads. As Krishna strolls through Raj with his lotus petal-like feet, marking the ground with the distinctive emblems of flag, thunderbolt, lotus, and elephant goad, he relieves the distress of the ground felt from the cow's hoofs. As he plays his renowned flute, his body moves with the grace of an elephant. Thus we gopis, who become agitated by Cupid when Krishna playfully glances at us, stand still as trees, unaware that our hair and garments are slackening. What wonderful images and adventures to hold in our minds and hearts as we go throughout the day. Now, it is time to turn it over to all of you for reflections, questions, and corrections. I would like to know, what hooks of remembrance are you taking into your hearts and minds today? Anyone have a reflection they'd like to offer?
Hare Krishna, Naitaki Radha Devi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, thank you so much. I just wanted to comment and remark that you're a brilliant writer. That is so amazing. It's so clear you laid out all your thoughts so clearly and really researched and came up with the quotes and yeah, just the flow of thought and the way that you unpacked that verse and purport was really just so brilliant. And I think everyone's stunned in ecstasy as if you've enchanted them like Krishna's flute, enchanted all the gopis and residents of Vrindavan with your wonderful oration. So I just wanted to say thank you very much. Very captivating. Nice
Thank
delivery.
you very much for your appreciation. Yes, this was clearly empowered by Krishna supporting my research and putting everything together. So thank you.
Anyone else has any comments or would like to share anything?
Hare Krishna. Please
Hare
accept my
Krishna.
humble obeisances. Just wanted to share that I really appreciated the examples and how we can see Krishna, like the blue flower, looking for these things, and just inspiring us to be open as we go through our day or through our week or whatever it might be to see Krishna in all of these places, in the clouds, in nature. So thank you so much for sharing in that way. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for your appreciation. I am going to send that right back to Rukmini Walker Prabhu, as that is one of her key points that she makes as she offers Krishna book to all of us.
No, Takirada, I apologize. I got distracted a little bit. But what's that point that Rukmini Devi always makes about this sense of wonder that a devotee of Krishna has towards everything that happens in their life? What's that sense of wonder?
Yeah, so that sense of wonder is being astonished by Krishna's opulence and mercy and love and compassion. And whenever the Vrajavasis and the devotees see something that they don't expect out of Krishna, then they become stunned with wonder.
Stunned with wonder. So they never freak out. They just get stunned.
They just get stunned. Stunned with joy emanating from their faces.
Who's doing all the worrying in the spiritual world?
That's a wonderful question. I don't know the answer.
Thank you. We'd like to acknowledge Damodar Priya Devidasi on this call. Damodar Priya, welcome back. Huge comeback for Damodar Priya Devidasi. Hare Krishna, please unmute yourself, Damodar Priya.
Hare Krishna. I saw that everybody was being shy, so I felt I had to come in and give my appreciation to my dear God sister Narataki Radha Devidasi. But first, I just want to acknowledge the hard work of our dear Ananda Bihari Prabhu and Nitai Prabhus, who, as well as everybody that's supporting them behind them, their wives, and everybody that kind of makes it possible to make this seva happen every day. So I just want to acknowledge that and give my appreciation. Even though I can't be here anymore as regularly, I just really want to appreciate what you do. So Narataki Radha Prabhu, what I really loved about what you shared is just that sense of curiosity about Krishna and just continuing to feel curious about the Lord and like understanding that no matter how much we learn about the Lord, like all these hooks that you shared, that there's so many that I had heard before and there's some that I hadn't. There's still so much more to learn about Krishna and about his different pastimes and so much that we can get excited about. Like it made me think the fact that for my Krishna kids program that I'm going to be doing I think in May, I'm going to be doing a new story that I've never done before. I'm going to be telling the pastime of the Matsya avatar to the children. And again, I'm familiar with the story of it, but I haven't really dived deep into it as much as I'm going to dive deep to like make puppets and tell it to the children. And just like, it blows my mind that here I am, like however long I've been studying Krishna consciousness. And there's another pastime that I can kind of dive into and find out more about Krishna and how much he loves his devotees and the different ways that he manifests himself as like a fish. It's like, if you really start to think about it, it's just, it blows your mind and it just makes you so happy to be in that sense of, like you said, everybody was talking about wonder, of curiosity, but also of gratitude, of just deep gratitude. And I know you mentioned Rukmini Prabhu, and it just reminds me of what she always kind of tells us, that gratitude makes space for Krishna's grace, so that when we can be curious, when we can be in a state of wonder, and when we can be grateful, wow, like all the grace of Krishna just manifests itself for us. That's always there, but we can see it better. So thank you so much, Narataki Radha. Love you very much.
Thank you, Damodar Priya. I love you too. And I just really appreciate you pointing out the curiosity, wonder, and gratitude all going together, because when we can tap into that, that's when the magic can appear within the storms of life.
Thank you, Damodar Priya, for your comment. Thank you for coming on.
I so love that, Ananda Bihari. Thank you.
I want to be relatable to Damodar Priya. So, gratitude makes space for Krishna's grace. That's Rukmini Devi.
Yes.
I had no idea she was a rapper. I had no idea.
Rapper, poet, writer, inspiration, the whole works.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to say something, Ram?
Hare Krishna.
Just honoring Prashadam. Thank you, Nartaki Radha. We see Sundarananda. Sundarananda Prabhu, would you like to reflect?
Hare Krishna. I just like reflecting on the statement that everyone's saying, like gratitude makes space for Krishna's grace. I think I need all the space needed. Yeah, thank you, Hare Krishna.
So when something happens, something comes up, gratitude, wonder, appreciation is the answer, right, Nartaki Radha? Not freaking out, injustice, how come, why me, not that.
Not why me, but what is the lesson? Because that opens us up to curiosity.
That's right. Ram, what's the lesson? He wants to grab the phone with his greasy hand. What's the lesson?
So adorable.
Thank you, Nartaki Radha. Wonderful class. Very meditative, very sweet. Thank you. It's darshan time. To your devotees, please turn on the cameras if you can. Follow Sundarananda Prabhu. He leads the way. Wow, do you see? Hey, baby. Yeah.
So it is my hope as we start to prepare for darshan that we can take some of this nectar and place our eyes on the wonderful form of Radha Murlidhar here in the temple room. Ananda Bihari, you're muted.
It's appreciation, not Takirada. That's all I'm vibrating now. Appreciation for the class.
Thank you.
For channeling the grace of the Sampradaya so wonderfully.
Jai Shrimad Bhagavatam Chandra ki Jai. Chotulada Bhagavatam ki Jai. Shrimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Govinda, Hari Purusham, Aham Bhajami. Enam Aravindagalaya Taksham, Bhavatam Sasitam, Pura Sundaram. Nandaka Oti Kamaniya Vishesha Shunta. Hari Purusham, Namaham Bhajami. Anganiyasya Sakari, Priya Priti Manti, Vasanti Manti Kayanti, Priya Jaganti. Arunachimaya Sadhu Valagarasya Govinda Govinda Hari Purusham, Govinda Hari Purusham, Namaham Bhajami. Radha Murlidhar ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can obtain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes, fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. It is my Lord, birth after faith. From him, ecstatic praying emanates. By him, ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, friend of the poor and the Lord, the master of devotees. Oh, master, be merciful. Give us the shade of the lotus feet. May your fame be spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter at the lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Temple room ki jai. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Afterglow. Dear devotees, what happened? Everybody so introverted.
I can't hear you, Nanda Bihari.
Something happened.
There we go. You're back.
I wasn't talking in line with Guru Sadhu and Shastra. I must have muted.
May I share something? Haribo.
Is that
Hare
Pope?
Krishna, Popi.
Hare Krishna. I just wanted to verbally say what I wrote in the chat. That I wanted to thank you for this wonderful class and reminding how to look for hooks, in our everyday ups and downs of life. And I wanted to tell you that your blue blue top that you're wearing today does remind me of Krishna's the blue-colored boy Krishna. And your smile and your compassion to support others reminds me of Krishna's unlimited love and mercy for us. Thank you for always, being there for me, like a friend and a sister, which reminds me of how Krishna shows up for his friends and devotees. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Popi. Yeah, the blue is not that was planned for this particular verse. So
What a sweet, loving exchange between the two sisters in Bhakti.
that's what devotee association is all about, right? Loving, kind, compassionate, honest exchanges.
Encouraging exchanges, right?
Yes.
Sometimes we feel a little weak, a little discouraged, and then we throw ourselves in the association and the devotees, and we're immediately picked up,
Yes.
lifted, and encouraged. Nice. Thank you. We can face anything if we're doing it together for Krishna's pleasure, as an adventure, as a wonder. Okay,
That's
Krishna.
right.
All right. Thank you for raising the bar. I'm gonna do my best, to please you.
It's all because I have mentors around me that are lighting the path. So
Thank you for your example. Okay, Isaiah, Annabelle, Sage, and Sky, please unmute yourself. Preach boldly, chant loudly. Nice to see you, Sage Hare Krishna. Isaiah Prabhu, nice to see you. Annabelle, Hare Krishna. Where's little Sky?
Little Sky.
She went to work?
Yes. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you very much. That was very wonderful. As always, you did great. Thank you, our chanters. Thank you very much, Srila Prabhupada, for the devotees, for the Shastra. Thank you, Rukmini Devi Dasi, for Nartaki Radha. Thank you very much. We love you and we need you every day, dear devotees. Come again. Hare Krishna. Happy Thursday.